In 2004, the cooperative made Shume International in Japan during the 2000 UN Millennium Development Goal Asia Pacific Youth Leadership Summit. And we were introduced to Shume's natural agriculture farming method that focused on an approach to agriculture based on living in harmony with nature and working with natural systems, following the philosophy of Japanese naturalist Mokichi Okada, who believed that the respect for soil brings forth its potential power in yielding crops. The agricultural method also focused on using indigenous seeds, as well as dry leaves and grass to sustain the moisture within the soil during rainy seasons. The practice of natural agriculture encourages minimum intervention in the growing process, including use of indigenous seeds and seed saving. Cultivation of soil in its natural state without additional elements such as fertilizer or manure. And a comprehensive understanding of the role of insects, neighboring plants, and weeds, and how to maintain their balance without the use of any pesticides or herbicides. Seeing the potential benefits of natural agriculture, the cooperative set out to resensitize farmers to traditional farming practices, aligned with the natural agriculture philosophy. The project began with 20 farm families setting up demonstration farmland to grow maize, peanuts, rape, onions, cabbage, and tomatoes. The cooperative farmers began by using seed from native crops, including the local variety of maize. This was an attractive alternative for many of these farmers because the yields of hybrid seed were reliant on the use of expensive fertilizers and pesticides. They also found that the native seeds were much more resilient to disease and performed well under changing weather patterns. And the best part of it all, they found that the native seed was actually produced stronger yield than the hybrid seed and more nutritious yield than the hybrid seed. Soil depletion is a common problem faced by farmers in rural Zambia. Wood is the main source for fuel for the majority of households. The women farmers noticed that by removing trees, they were destroying the water catchment areas. Deforestation and the subsequent increase in runoff was a major contribution to water evaporation in the soil and ultimately resulted in topsoil depletion. Following Shume's advice, the farmers focused on using local dried plant materials to cover crops. The plant cover helped to significantly decrease water evaporation by keeping the soil temperate and moist, and provided protection from runoff in deforested areas. This approach helped to naturally restore the soil's intrinsic fertility and was seen as a successful alternative to fertilizers that would be detrimental to the long-term health of the soil. Farmers noted that under Western cultural farming, they were producing 2.5 tons of maize per 10 hectares of land, while using natural agriculture methods, they were producing between 5 to 7.5 tons per 10 hectares. Over time, an increasing number of farm families joined the Mbabala Women Farmers Cooperative Union and received training in natural agriculture. By the end of 2005, the program had grown over 1,000 families. To date, Mbabala Women Farmers Cooperative Union has over 2,500 farm families practicing natural agriculture today. In 2007-2008 rainy season, Zambia's agriculture sector was affected by flooding. Villagers who lived in southern Zambia for over 50 years did not expect to experience 13 days of straight rainfall. Many farmers in Zambia suffered because their crops were swept away in the floodwaters. Natural agriculture has enabled the members of the cooperative to lead more sustainable lifestyles because it is more productive, cost-effective, and is a resilient alternative to conventional methods, and can withstand changing weather conditions such as droughts and floods. They no longer have to purchase seeds and fertilizers, and their crop yields are higher than ever. In addition, they are able to increase their seed supply each season. The cooperative, which now involves more than 5,000 people in the community who come to learn, to see the other 2,000 farm families, is not only about increasing crop yield, it also teaches the principles of planning to the farmers who are feeding their families, selling crops to clothe and educate their children, and saving seed for the future. According to weather experts and researchers, global climate change is the cause of these floods. I leave you with one last thought, Climate Forum and COP15. Through infrastructure development, coordination, information sharing, and partnerships across country borders, we the advocates can be an unstoppable force. We need to understand that we do not stand alone, and one activist, one NGO, and one group of people cannot solve all the problems, but they can be the beginning of change. We need to understand the contributions that we have made and are yet to make at COP15 2009 are the beginning and can be the driving force and wave to change. We need to call on each other, on the man and woman next to you, on the young people, on our governments, and most of all, we need to call in that big favor that is owed to us by the private sector, that favor that we call corporate social responsibility. And they need to contribute to this movement because they are part of our society. They are part of the men and women that are suffering the devastation of climate change.